Hello, my name's James Hogbin. I'm the founder of Fingerprint Supervision. We're a company that supervises and provides compliance process around email, voice, unstructured data, and all of the intent-based communications channels that you will find in a regulated firm. In terms of supervision, the FCA mandate it in a number of different ways, but it's all mandated in one handbook. And that handbook is called the Senior Management Arrangement Systems and Control Handbook, or as it's known in the trade, the SYSC Handbook. Now, within SYSC, there are a number of different sections. And those sections define how any firm should organise their bits and pieces that aren't the trading and the investment and the sales. So everything that isn't doing the business is kind of regulated by the SYSC Handbook. Now, in terms of the obligation to supervise your communications, your trades, anything like that, there are certain rules that are important to bear in mind. The first one is SYSC 3. Now, SYSC 3 is the systems and control. And what we have in SYSC 3 is that SYSC 3, Spot 2, Spot 6 says any firm has to have effective systems to counter financial crime. Now, the FCA say financial crime, and they are really hot on that at the minute. If you look at any of the market watches that have been coming out recently, then they're very, very focused on financial crime, especially as everybody's now working at home. So financial crime can be taken as a proxy for do the right thing across your business. The next SYSC rule that's very important is kind of a catch-all SYSC rule, and it's SYSC 4, which is general requirements. And the general requirements, effectively, they've put all the bits and pieces in there that don't really fit in any other rules. But the important bit to say here is SYSC 416 is all about having appropriate and proportionate systems to your business. Now, remember that we operate in a principle-based regulation. So this is all about what would the regulator think after the event, looking back at what you've done. It's not whether it's proportionate now, it's whether it's proportionate in 2 years' time when the regulator thinks you've done something wrong. So SYSC 416 is all about that. The next rule is perhaps the most important rule for compliance people, and that's SYSC 6, which is compliance, and I'll write it in capital letters because it's so important. Because this rule insists that the compliance person has access to all of the information and insists that the compliance person keeps all of that information monitored and supervised and is responsible for any wrongdoing and reporting it to the FCA. So this is really important in terms of the compliance framework of any business. Now, it may well be that your business is small and that you don't want to do everything yourself. You want to outsource stuff. The FCA have thought about that, and SYSC 8 is outsourcing. Now, what SYSC 8 says is you can outsource the delivery but never the responsibility. So even though you may take on systems and platforms such as ours, you still retain the responsibility for making sure that they're doing the right thing and that you're on top of all of the risks that are identified and any wrongdoing that's discovered. It isn't the outsourcer's issue to deal with, it's yours. And finally, SYSC 9, which is record keeping. Now, SYSC 9 says that you should keep all of your information, business critical information, which is kind of everything, for 5 years. So SYSC 9 effectively drives the archiving market. Everything that you send or do needs to be kept. And finally, if you're unlucky enough to fall into it, there is SYSC 10A, and that's call recording and e-coms. Now, what SYSC 10A says is if there's any trading that goes on, from the investment thesis all the way to the execution of the trade, anything in electronic communications should be recorded or blocked. It actually comes from Article 10 of MiFID II and is kind of analogous to the 17A/4 obligation that they have in the States. So SIS 10A, you either record or you block every electronic communication method. Now, this is what the framework is today for you. And the proportionality means that whether you're an investment bank on one side or a three-person firm on the other, these rules apply equally. There is no, I'm a small firm, it doesn't apply to me. Every single SYSC function applies to your firm regardless. Thank you very much for listening. My name's James Hogbin. I'm the founder of Fingerprint Supervision.